Prize money row in South Island ultra race ignites international debate. John Moore always thought it would garner a bit of attention. Well, John has certainly fucking done that, but was not expecting this when Moore's events company, CJM's Events, which he owned with his wife Carol, posted a prize offer of $10,000 for the first person to break the 8-hour mark in the 100-kilometer South Island ultra race. They'd hoped it would generate some buzz, which it has done. The event, which snakes along the West Coast Wilderness Trail, starts in Greymouth, finishes Hokitika, is considered one of the most scenic ultramarathon races in the world, with its well-maintained tracks and elevation of just 720 meters. Moore also believes it to be one of the fastest events. He hoped to see the 8-hour barrier broken for the race this year in what would be the fourth staging of the event. So he and Carol, the company's managing director, dangled a wee carrot for competitors, putting up cash prize of $10,000 for the first person to go under 8 hours. Last Monday, the organizers posted the announcement on the event website and various ultra running pages on social media. Not long after that, they were facing allegations of sexism and threats of a mass boycott as they found themselves in the crosshairs of an international debate about whether ultra distance running is really the great leveler between genders. Critics of the move claim the cash prize overwhelmingly favors men, who are more likely to be able to break the performance target than women. Now, part of this conversation is this. One of the things that's been said for a long time about men competing against women, women competing against men, is that long distance running is the leveler. And in fact, race, the last time this race was run, it was won by a woman. She bet all the men and won, right? And the time, and I'm going to play you some audio shortly, the time for the fastest man and the fastest woman is only different by about 2 minutes. So 8 hours and 17 minutes versus 8 hours and 20 minutes. It's like only a 2-minute difference between the whole thing. And it seems like when you're talking about areas of speed, like the 100 meters, there's about a 10% variance. When you're talking about things like power, like weightlifting, it's about a 30% variance. But for some reason, long distance running, maybe because of lactic acid buildup, maybe because men typically carry more muscle mass, so they're heavier for long distances, seems to be the great leveler. That's always sort of been part of the pushback. But now that this thing was offered, everyone's going, hang on, that favors the guys. So this is sexist. I've got more to talk about with this, Chewy, because I've got some thoughts. But what do you think of just the initial stages?
Well, first of all, I was shocked, and I've got to say, I am boycotting this event.
Me too. I was going to do it, but
I'm not competing. I'm not competing, and it's definitely because of this issue. No, you're right. Everything that I have read about ultra long distance running, it does level out. And when you look at long distance runners, the body shapes, the body types are remarkably similar. Long, lean muscle rather than heavy muscle mass. You're not talking about explosive bursts of energy or anything like that. It's
called
economy of motion.
Yeah, they're called fast twitch muscles. Sprinters use fast twitch muscles.
Absolutely. It's more about economy of motion and preservation of your body's energy or how it maintains. And you mentioned lactic acid as well. Like literally these people that do the ultra long marathons are built different. Their muscles work differently.
Yep.
And ultra long distance races have been taken out by women reasonably regularly. Now, the argument that these people are saying it's not fair, they're kind of going, yeah, but a big cash prize will attract more men.
Oh, okay.
And
but hang on. Wouldn't it also attract more women?
Well, that's what I thought. But the people that are complaining about it are sort of going, no, it's just going to attract more elite men, and therefore they disappear down this sort of hole of like, of course a woman couldn't beat a man,
even though last year
they have.
Yeah, last year a woman won it. Yeah.
I mean, I think these people that have put up this prize just absolutely looked at who won it last time, and the chances are, I think the difference in winning is something like 1% difference between men and women's times and stuff like that. That's close enough to buggery to just chuck up a single big prize pool. It's if they break that time, it's not the winner. They could have a winner that doesn't beat that time. Nobody gets the money.
Correct. Yeah, and the other thing is, so often, like, this is this conversation that I'm loving in society. When I say loving, I mean I'm kind of fascinated by it. Yeah, is on one level, we're talking about us all being equal, or another level, we're talking about equality. So equality, that whole kind of conversation. And in this instance, when these people just go, whoever it is, they didn't say it as bluntly as this, but whoever it is, man or woman that breaks it, you get the money, on some level feels appropriate. And then in this culture we live in at the moment, where we're kind of flattening the genders / sexes, and sort of, I'm not, this is not a critical thing, I'm saying this is what's happening. And there's I think the BAFTAs have gone away from best male, best female. It's just best now. That's we're flattening everything. The Leah Thompsons in swimming against Penn State. We're flattening it, and then this seems to be flattened with no sort of debate around who can, can't, should, shouldn't compete. And when they flatten it, they're like, hey, no. I just, because the flip side is, if there is an advantage for men in long distance running, if there is, and there doesn't seem to be based on the numbers really, but if there is, then the next question is, if someone was to put up a cash prize, there are like different ages have, like if you're younger, you're probably more likely to get it than older. If you're taller with a longer stride, you might be better than shorter. Like, then when do you go, actually, we now have to provide categories for all of these people? Because like, if you're disabled and you wanted to do it, then this is ableist. Like, where do you draw the line? When Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile barrier, I'm sure they didn't just go, but he's a guy. And of course a guy was going to do it. It was like it was just something to be broken by someone.
Yeah.
So I find it fascinating.
I think if we were talking about a powerlifting competition, sure. But I mean, this is a particular sport, and it just seems to be that when it is these endurance type events, then that difference between men and women just really comes down. You look at Ironman competitions and triathlons and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in the chat here, Caitlin's here tonight. Hello, Caitlin.
I believe pause for that, bro. Awesome on the news tonight, Caitlin. Saw that on News Hub. Well done, mate.
Oh, I missed
keep
that.
going.
Okay.
Yep.
I believe the world ultra champ is a woman. So there you go. Finsgard says that the record is held by a man
for this race. By about 2 minutes.
And I think the last time they ran it, a woman won it.
Yep.
So I mean, straight away there, it's not a clean sweep by the men. And Finsgard also says, they had to shave like 20 minutes off the course record to make that 8-hour time. So it's a challenge. Like, they're definitely putting up the money to get someone to smash that record.
What would that be if you work that out? 20 minutes over 100 Ks. Oh, I don't know. Sometime per K difference. It would be sometime.
Sweaty just thinking about it.
An extra sweat.
And we get, do we have a breakdown of the percentage of entrants by gender? I mean, it's not like you're going to have a 50-50 breakdown. You're just going to have the people that want to just run solidly for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And it's an elite group of people.
Yeah.
You don't, this isn't like, I'm training up to do a half marathon. No, you're running solidly for 8 hours. There's not very many people that can literally do that.
Thanks, Emma. All right, let's just have a listen, and then we'll wrap it up and move on to the hate speech conversation. To the actual one of the event runners, they've actually come up with a solution. Now, whether the solution is happy or sad, or you think it's fair or not, this is the solution they've come up with.
Or via the New Zealand Herald podcast section, iHeartRadio, or your preferred podcast platform.
Thank you for the advert. Appreciate that.
Greater lifetime
Thank you very
savings.
much.
You're
I don't know why we got an
the
advert, but we'll keep going.
Drive
Here we go.
podcast from News Talk ZB.
Well, the ultra-marathon race on the West Coast has become surprisingly controversial. The organisers are being accused of sexism because they offered $10,000 for the first runner to do the race in under 8 hours. But the problem is it's apparently close to impossible for women to run that race in under 8 hours.
Well, no,
so the
that's not
organisers then
possible.
decided best way to do this is add a second prize, $10,000 for the first man to do it in under 8 hours, $10,000 for the first woman to do it in under 8 hours.
So they've upped it by
The race director for the
10 grand. So
destination
now there's
was
20
South
grand up
Island
for grabs.
ultramarathon is John Moore. Hi, John.
Hi.
Has a woman ever done it in 8 hours?
She doesn't know what she's talking
No
about.
one's done it.
She's
in
done
8
no
hours.
research.
Do you reckon a woman can?
Yep.
Do you reckon a man can?
Good interview.
Well, what's the fastest time a woman's ever done it?
No research.
24:03.
And a man?
8 hours 21:40. 8 hours 21:45.
Okay, so it's like a
Yep.
3-minute
2 minutes,
difference.
2 minutes and 18 seconds
that's-
difference.
So where are these people
small.
who say that women
Yeah.
can't do it in 8 hours? Where are they getting that from?
It's weird. It's strange because we wanted to see the event break 8 hours, and when we assessed it, the record time for the males was 8 hours 21 in round terms. And last year, Kanoka, she won the race and she won it in 8 hours 24.
So she actually
And,
beat all the blokes.
Yeah, she beat the guy by 40 seconds. Third was another female. So first, third, and sixth on the 100K last year.
1,
were
3,
females.
6. That means
John,
2, 4,
so
5.
do you
for
think
men.
maybe you'd get around it if you said the blokes have to do it in 8 hours and the girls have to do it in 8 hours, 2 minutes and 45?
might have been, but
Good
it wouldn't
joke,
have
Heather.
achieved what we wanted to achieve. We want to see people go under 8 hours for the event. It's like the 4-minute mile.
Yeah.
And it's just become crazy, really, with people saying that it should be 10% different and all this, because all these things are based off world records. When you look at the world record for 100K, it's on a athletics track running round and round a track, and that's so different.
Yeah. So that's the gist of it. So what they're doing now is they've given out 2 prizes, $10,000 for the first man to do it and $10,000 for the first woman to do it. Now I fear what's going to
I
then
think
happen.
that's quite clever.
Yeah, but what's now going to happen, I think, I don't know, is people will complain that it's still an unfair advantage because men will win the prize before women because men will get there first.
Oh,
But-
I don't know about that. But
Well-
I mean, they put theoretically 20 grand up.
Yeah.
For something that hasn't been done.
I think
But
it
that
kind
solves the argument.
it kind of dovetails a little bit into the next conversation on some themes, not on the reality of what we're going to talk about, but on some themes around sort of our roles and expectations of who we are as people, what the sexes do, can do, should do when it comes to things like sports. And look, I'm not going to get into a debate about sports. I know that for a lot of people out there, issues around, gender ideology and gender, protecting one's gender and gender being safe in those areas has got fuck all to do with sports. It's to do with a lot of different things. That sports is sort of an icing on the cake of life. It's not important. But it is something that if we're going to all celebrate all of us as a similar sort of level of competence, a similar sort of species, where we're losing the diversity between the sexes, that this is probably more and more. And for these poor people, I do feel sorry for them who have gone, hey guys, let's do this really fun thing. If anyone breaks 8 hours, here's 10 grand. And to have that blow back and be like, you fucking assholes. I'm just like, you poor guys. What are you talking about?
No, it did seem deeply unfair to these people. Rob here's Rob here's got a question. Still haven't actually heard what the argument is on the side of those claiming sexism. It makes it hard to appreciate the argument. The line that I saw was that it was unfair that it wasn't gendered because men have an innate advantage in this, which I don't agree with.
They say
when they pushed a little bit harder on it, it was just like, well, if there's money up for grabs, it'll just, the only reason that a woman won last time is that there wasn't as many of the elite men in this sport running that race. And by having 10 grand out there, it will attract more men for the prize money.
But it also attract more elite women. That's the thing. It's
exactly. It was a nonsensical line of, like, it fell apart the more that they talked about it. It didn't make any sense to me.
Here's the line for people. If you're asking why is it being claimed that it's sexist, critics of the move claim the cash prize overwhelmingly favors men who are more likely to be able to meet the performance target than women. So that's the argument for why it's sexist. Whether you accept that or believe it or think it's right or wrong, that's the argument.
If it was a different sport, sure. This particular one, the line is so thin. It's nothing.